everybody, to geeksandgamers.com's Sports Wars YouTube channel. I'm Brandon Andreessen, back with you with the Tuesday High and Tight, where we go over the biggest news in baseball of the week. And we have to begin, of course, the All-Star Game rosters have been announced. And, of course, that means Twitter is outraged because Tony Snell of the Tampa Bay Rays did not get picked to the All-Star team. And that means, what's going to happen? Will he go? Will he won't? Will he not go? It's not like 20 guys aren't going to get hurt. And you know how little people care about Tony Snell? It's actually Blake Snell. Tony Snell plays for the Milwaukee Bucks, and nobody caught that when I said it. The fact of the matter is most pitchers for the All-Star teams don't pitch in the All-Star game because a lot of the top pitchers pitch on Sunday before the All-Star game to set the rotations for the second half of the season. So Blake Snell is going to get his opportunity, especially if Justin Verlander pitches on the Sunday before the All-Star game. Not a big deal. But all 26 Tampa Bay Rays fans had to muscle up on Twitter and make it an outrage. Make it terrible. The system is broken. This can't work. Fans shouldn't be allowed to vote for players. This is an outrage. Pitchers aren't voted on by the fans. Pitchers are voted on by the players and the coaches who have very strict rules because you have to have one representative of every team on the All-Star team, no matter how trash they are, looking in your direction, Kansas City Royals. So guess what? Blake Snell's going to make it. Every guy you think deserved to make it, probably going to get in. That's how it works. Sorry, haters. On the National League side, there's a bit of an uproar because Javier Baez was voted in to start at second base over Scooter Gennett and Ozzie Albies. Ozzie Albies has had a good season, but has fallen off to anybody that's been paying attention because Major League pitching has caught up to him, and his stats are starting to crater on him. Scooter Gennett's a good story. He's got the highest batting average in the league, and if he can keep it up, maybe he's a fringe MVP candidate. But no casual baseball fan is tuning in to watch Scooter friggin' Gennett. You know what they might tune in to watch? Javier Baez, the human highlight GIF. He makes baseball more fun by simply being a part of it. Nobody named Scooter has ever made anything more fun in the history of anything ever, and that is a fact. So sorry, Scooter Gennett, you're going to have to deal with being on the All-Star game in maybe the 4th to the 7th innings. Must be rough on you. I'm sure your fans will get over it or eat their crappy Cincinnati chili spaghetti. Midwestern food. Guys, we have to fix that. In other news, Shohei Ohtani on a bum knee and a bad elbow hit a go-ahead 2-run home run, 443 feet this weekend. That is absurd how far he hit it with an elbow that nobody's quite sure is actually functional, and he sure as hell can't pitch with it. On top of that, the day before, he had fouled a ball off his knee and wasn't even cleared to play in the game until about the 2nd inning of the game. Comes in, pinch hits, knocks it out. The game is better off with a guy like Shohei Ohtani in it. We need him back. We need him here. I want him pitching every 5th day, and I want him batting the other 4. We need this. I want this. Mike Trout sure as hell needs this. In other news, Washington Nationals utility man Mark Reynolds had himself a hell of a weekend. He came off the bench and hit a game-winning 2-run home run on Friday night, followed by on Saturday going 5 for 5 with 10 RBIs in a Nationals win. And then in a mop-up loss against the Marlins on Sunday, he came in and pitched and got a guy out. That's a pretty great weekend for a guy on his 8th team in 12 years. Kudos to Mark Reynolds for having himself a weekend and having a hell of a bit of longevity because it takes a lot to have a 9-career WAR over the course of 12 years and still be employed by a Major League Baseball team. Moving on to this week's power rankings. We go to the top 5 and the bottom 5 teams in the league every week. And this week, as in every week before, and probably every week down the rest of the season, unless something horrible happens, number 1 with a bullet, Houston Astros. They have over a 170-run differential. They don't seem to have cold streaks. They're not having huge injury problems. Everyone is young. Everyone is healthy. On top of that, they have a veteran pitching staff who turned Charlie Morton magically into a real boy and then turned that real boy into a real quality Major League starting pitcher. They have no obvious flaws. Uh, Maybe they go in and they trade for some surplus depth in the bullpen. Sucks for every other team in the American League, especially every other team in the American League West, where the Athletics magically 10 games above 500 with zero shot almost of making the playoffs. Imagine being 50-40, rolling into a week before the All-Star break, and having to contemplate being a seller. That's where they are right now because of team number one and another team coming up later. At number 2, I have the Boston Red Sox, and at 3, I have the New York Yankees. You can flip-flop them if you want. It doesn't matter. Both teams are going to the playoffs. Both teams are running away with the AL East. I don't know about you guys. When I was young, I hated the Red Sox and I hated the Yankees. It seemed like they were always winning and they were always on top and they always had the best players and they always were on national TV all the time and they always just seemed like they mattered way too much. But as an adult, baseball is better when you have the powerhouses being good. They make baseball matter more to people that wouldn't otherwise care. They need to be there. They're great. I'm personally excited. The idea of watching, an AL division game with Luis Severino going up against Chris Sale in game 1, oh, that gets me off. Craig Kimbrell and Aroldis Chapman coming out of the bullpen. Mookie Betts, Gleyber Torres. There is so much star power on these two teams. One's 2, one's 3. I don't care which one. I'm just excited to see how the rest of the season goes in the AL East and see who comes out on top and who has to go into the one-game playoff. Number 4, I got a tie between the Cubs and the Brewers. I wanted to put the Cubs alone at 4, but for some reason the Brewers just refuse to lose. They're 7-3 in their past 10. The Cubs are 8-2 in their past 10 and have gained one game in the division. These two teams are both hitting their stride, and look out for the Milwaukee Brewers as a dark horse candidate to get Manny Machado. They might have just enough to clear their cupboard bare in the minor league system to get a deal in place with the Baltimore Orioles to get him. If that happens, that is a truly dangerous lineup helmed by him and MVP candidate Lorenzo Cain, along with the forever hateable but effective Ryan Braun and whatever magic spell Jesus Aguilar is under to lead the National League in home runs right now. Number 5, I wish I could describe what the Seattle Mariners are doing. No idea. They don't make sense. They've had one of the best records in baseball since their best player went out with a PED suspension. Robinson Cano's in the middle of serving an 80-game suspension, and he's probably going to come back just in time for a late-season run to secure a playoff spot. I don't think they run down the Astros, but I have no clue what to think of this team anymore. Maybe they can, or maybe they're the team that fades out and the Athletics stick with it and pull out that last wild card spot. But this team is basically built of balsa wood and chewing gum. You would think they'd fall apart, but they don't. And at the same time, does any other team in the American League really want to have to go into a one-game playoff facing down James Paxton? He's turning into an ace before our eyes, and nobody's paying attention because he's in Seattle. But if he goes in there and he takes out the Red Sox or he takes out the Yankees, guess what? People are going to be talking about his name for a long time to come, and he deserves it. He's a star in the making. Now let's go down to the bottom 5. At number 27, we have the Washington Nationals. No, the Nationals aren't one of the 5 worst teams in Major League Baseball, but they deserve to be here because you trash. You a trash-ass team. You have Max Scherzer on your team. You have Bryce Harper on your team, even though he's not putting up the best average this year. You have Trea Turner. You have Anthony Rendon, and you trash. You were one game above 500 before you got lucky enough to run into the Marlins on your schedule. Oh, big hitters there, and you still managed to get blown out on Sunday. This team fired Dusty Baker last season after a 100-plus win season before running into some bad luck against the Cubs in the playoffs. And they replaced him, and they made themselves worse. Yeah, there's a lot of season left, and this team could get a lot better. But this team could also self-destruct upon itself like a neutron star at this point as well. Nationals, turn your shit around. I'm not ready to live in a world where Aaron Nola and the Phillies and whatever the Braves are trying to reconstruct winning that NL East. Come on, get it together. Number 28, the Chicago White Sox. I would like to think they're tanking properly, but they aren't even doing that properly because there's teams that were trying to compete that are actually way worse than they are. Don Cooper, the pitching coach of the White Sox, he's long been known as a pitcher magician or a pitcher whisperer. But if he doesn't figure out what to do with Lucas Giolito and Reynaldo Lopez, two of the main players that came over in trades with the Washington Nationals and are supposed to be future pillars of that starting rotation, if he can't fix them, it might be time to show old Coop the door. At number 29, we have the New York Mets. Team's trash, farm system's trash, Tim Tebow's trash, ownership's trash. Hey, but at least we got to celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day last week. That's always fun. I drank to it. I don't know about you. It's a complete sham that Tim Tebow and his 262 averages in a minor league all-star game for any other reason than publicity. But I can almost guarantee you this is going to open the door for Tim Tebow to be on a major league roster in September. And oh, Lord, you want the hot takes? Skip Bayless's head might literally melt from them. I'm excited for that. I'm not excited to see Tim Tebow be a Major League Baseball player, though. But he chases dreams. Shine on, you crazy religious diamond. Pulling up at what should be the final team, but isn't, is the Baltimore Orioles. Holy crap. This team isn't supposed to be trash. This team was supposed to at least contend in the AL East. And they are so bad that they had Chris Davis putting up quite possibly the worst statistical season in Major League history before they finally took him out back and old Yellered his ass. Manny Machado is going to be gone, but they haven't traded Manny Machado yet. The time to trade him was last offseason and realize your team wasn't good. Didn't do that. So now they're going to get diminished returns. And let's face it, they're probably going to trade Manny Machado to the Cardinals for some guy we've never heard of with 2 Tommy John surgeries and a bag of magic beans. And you know what? That's all Peter Angelos and the rest of those Orioles. That's all they deserve. Let's face it. And coming in dead last, not even getting number 30 because you don't even deserve to be in the top 30 in a 30-team league. Number 31, the Kansas City Royals. Your team's trash. Your farm system's trash. But more importantly, your owner and your general manager are trash. This is the same group of people that did an anti-porn demonstration to their players. Look it up online. And then had the audacity to sign a sex offender to their team saying everybody needs second chances. Yeah, because it's way better to diddle your cousin, get caught for it, than not bring it up in hopes that nobody would notice it, than to be into porn. Oh, look out, Royals. Number 31, and you're staying there until Dayton Moore is fired. And I don't mean fired as in losing his job. I mean shoved into a cannon and shot towards the sun. All right, guys, I'm Brandon Andreessen. You can also check me out over on the Geeks and Gamers Sports Wars podcast at Pro Wrestling Nation every week, every Friday. Check me out along with Corey Harris. And if you want to catch me any other way, catch me on Twitter at the B-Man. Until next week, see y'all later.